And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
That's right. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon is out today. My name is James DeJerome. I'm the producer of the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we're going to do the same great show we always do for you. The consumer advocacy part of this show lives on. Brandon makes sure that we always provide some positivity with our feel-good story, and we introduce you to our great team of experts and sponsors because he wanted to create a program that provided some information and value for everyone out in the Bay. Brandon owns the Platinum MVP team. He's a realtor with Keller Williams. And, of course, over the years doing the show, he creates this great network of home professionals that he works with every day on the real estate side. And, of course, the legal, we have lawyers and doctors, and we're going to get into some health issues today. But the whole idea is that we put this network of folks together for you to provide some information to make your dollar go farther as a consumer. So when you're out there spending, we hope that the Consumer Quarterback Show has provided a little bit of value, a little bit of knowledge that makes your spending go a little farther and improves your life a little bit. In addition, we talked about the feel-good story. Today's feel-good story involves a high school senior. Now, I'm a big advocate for science and math. I think we've got to catch back up in the United States as far as the world competition in science and math. Getting our kids involved in science and math is critical. I'm going to tell you about a senior here from Iowa that developed sutures that change colors to relate to infection so that you can tell if your sutures are infected. So it's something really cool. And again, I want to push that science and math for kids as much as I can as an advocate for that on this show. Okay, our show today features a lot of great sponsors and a lot of great experts, but the sponsor for this segment is the Bilmar Beach Resort. You know, the Bilmar Beach Resort is a unique hotel here in the Bay Area. If you have not been out to the beach, you want to give Clyde Smith a call. He's the GM of the Bilmar Beach Resort. He appears on our show. He was on yesterday, as a matter of fact. And some of the cool things going on for spring break out there, you know, Clyde put protocols in place to make sure that he was providing safe hospitality locations. The whole city of Treasure Island came out to see how he was doing things so they could advise other businesses to mirror what they were doing at the Bilmar Beach Resort. So a safe place, protocols in place, and just a great hotel, a great place to have a weekend, a staycation. Get in touch with Clyde and the Bilmar if you're looking for something to do on the weekends. As I mentioned, Brandon is a realtor. He owns the Platinum MVP team. We're going to take a look at some properties now. Johnny's our producer in the studio. He's going to throw them up on the screen for me. Some of these properties, even in this time of scarcity throughout the Bay Area, Brandon still has some opportunities for you. So here's one in Plant City. 5402 West 92nd Highway. This is about 1,900 square feet. This is a turnkey establishment ready to go. It is a bar or saloon. If you ever fancied yourself a saloon owner, a bar owner, you want to have a restaurant, you want to be the kind of the master of ceremonies in a bar, own your own in Plant City, 5402 West 92nd Highway. Get in touch with Brandon. Commercial, residential, and land opportunities if you're looking to build your dream home. What else you got for me, Johnny? Here's something in Tampa, 12208 Four Oaks Road, 5 acres. So if you're ready to build, this is zoned residential, prime development opportunity, close to shopping in the malls. Again, 5 acres. You can put there is a 2,000 square foot home currently on the property. And again, 12208 Four Oaks Road, right in Tampa, 5 acres, ready to build your dream home. So again, Brandon still has great opportunities for all the folks out there looking at real estate, commercial, residential, even land to buy. And of course, part of the network that Brandon has with home professionals, we talk about roofing and solar guys and plumbers and AC. You better have a good pest control guy if you're going to get involved in real estate and sell homes, because people are going to need to know that they've got a plan for pests. And down here, there's no shortage of pests in Florida. Dan Menikheim, ProHealth Pest Control, is our expert in the pest control field. Dan, I know there's no shortage of bugs down here in Florida. Is there any special bugs for this season or anything going on right now that peaks this time of year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Right now, it's raining. So without protecting the exterior of their home with a bait and some stuff like that, the ants are coming.
I see.
And you might not even see them, but they are going to be going to higher ground. And the warmer it gets, the more rain we get. Bugs don't drown in the rain; they flourish in the rain. Warm, wet weather is bugs' favorite.
I'm amazed at the diversity of ants. I mean, there's a million different kinds of ants. They can get in your. Some of them are small enough just to walk through your home. They'll just walk right under the walls. You know, the crawl space. There's nothing that can stop them. I've been told crazy ants, this kind of ant, a carpenter ant. I mean, there's so many out there.
Yeah, and some of them are so small. Mm-hmm. There's even smaller ones that somebody will be like, what kind of ant it is? And I can get it to within a few of them. But some of them are so close that you actually have to put them under a microscope. I mean, I know the smaller ones, the way you treat ants are typical. A carpenter ant is treated differently than a big-headed ant, a pavement ant, or even a crazy ant.
Right.
You know, some of those are different. Like crazy ants, you can bait them and stuff like that. But a crazy ant, like you brought that up, right? There are a variety of ants. There's no such thing as a sugar ant. But if a customer tells me I got sugar ants, I don't correct them. I go, okay, well, just show me where they're at. You know, I mean, so you know, and if I know them, I might be like, am I saying that right? I may give them education, but a sugar ant's fine. You know what I mean? Whatever an ant, you know, I know if they're a sugar ant, it's probably going to be an ant in the kitchen.
It's a shame they don't eat each other. I was always hoping maybe some of the bugs would start eating those ants.
Well, you know, there are some. I mean, that's why you get like. Speaking of that, like, so sometimes people go, "Hey, do you kill lizards?" And I go, "No, we don't. No, actually, none of our products even killed anything with vertebrates. That's why it's ProHealth Pest Control. You know, safe for the environment and safe for you and safe for your pets." And they'll look at me. I said, "Hey, but here's the good news. We're going to control the insect population around your property with very green, organic type products that baits that lure the ants and the roaches to the bait. They eat it, they die. Now what will happen? Now the lizards go where there's food.
That's right.
So lizards go where there's ants and roaches because that's what they eat. So there is the lizards do eat the insects. That's their main source of food.
So it's all interconnected out there, Dan. One pest and another.
You're
kind of like doing a forensic. You come in there and you're kind of trying to do a detective work there.
Well, yeah, it's you know, it's me. Thank you. It's some people when I get into them, you know, I wasn't passionate about bugs when I was 5. It's something you grow into, and then, you know, there was an opportunity in this business for me, and then I had somebody that trained me that really made me fell in love with these insects, and then here I am doing it for a living. Right, I'm actually an expert on a radio show. So
I'll tell you, the nature part of this stuff is really cool.
It is, you know, ants are one of my favorite, you know, termites are really cool, except 2 things I don't want in my house, termites or ants, you know. I mean, even though they're cool on the outside, and believe me, if I'm on site at your site and I see where they're going, most of the time when they're on the inside of the home, what we do is we look for the nest on the outside. They're usually nest on the outside. They go through under the ground, and then they come up through some sort of plumbing, and they go to some sort of food source. And if we can treat them at the nest, we may do a little bait in the kitchen, and we treat them at the nest. But yeah, it is a whole system out there for sure. And then the lizards eat the ants, and then the birds eats the lizards. And,
that's right.
You know, so on and so forth.
Tell me this: have you ever been greeted with disbelief when you tell people that the termites actually go under the wall, through the wall, and end up in your? I said, "There's no way. Come on now. You're telling me the termite from outside flies to my house, goes in at the base of my, where my masonry meets my the ground, and goes under that through the block and gets into the end. And sure enough, there they are. Unbelievable."
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's some construction that goes along with what I do as well too. But the one thing that concrete guys have a guarantee is concrete will crack.
Yeah.
So that's where they go in. They go through the cracks.
I thought, how can he penetrate? How can they penetrate block? And the guy's like, well, they find a way.
Well, they just do. And I've seen it to where somebody builds a property on acres, 100 square foot, 100,000 square foot of property, and it was storage facilities. And everywhere they built out some framing, that the termites found a way after years and years and years. And I'm like thinking, why would, even me personally, with all my knowledge, how come they didn't starve?
Yeah.
You know, with they cleared all this land out, they built this concrete jungle, right? And they built the interiors were concrete and metal. Concrete and metal. Then when people started, you know, building bathrooms and stuff like that, they started getting through cracks, and you could see termites throughout this whole property. And you could tell no one ever treated for termites in this whole property when they built it, which is not up to. You're supposed to do it per code, and there's a reason. All of a sudden, you start putting wood on the floor. I've been amazed myself for the 25 years experience I have in the industry of where termites can find food.
Yeah.
It is.
And we've got a couple of different kinds down here, again, because of our weather, so everything can flourish down here. It seems like every kind of insect does just fine.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, we're in the subtropics. It's, you know, come the rain, comes the bugs.
Like you said, that
You know,
moisture's
the termites don't really care, but the termites comes warmer weather. The termites, what they call swarms, where it's just them trying to expand their territory by when they swarm. It's just a male and a female trying to meet up somewhere else to create another colony to expand, to keep growing. So that's all that is.
I know you guys are busy. We're going to talk a little bit about how you find your staff. I wanted to ask you, is any update on the murder hornets and on the scary side of insects? They love to try to scare you with the murder hornet. I said any hornet's bad.
Yeah,
I don't want a murder hornet or any hornet.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. That was fun. It's an actual thing, and maybe one person went to the hospital on it or something like that. The only thing I could say is I haven't seen one personally. Read about them, and I'm involved with them, and we had some fun with that. Did some Facebook posts or something like that. But it is included. What I always say, it is included in your annual quarterly pest control.
That's right.
So if you do get them, and ProHealth, and ProHealth happens to be your pest control person, we include
You're covered.
We will come out and kill the murder horns for no charge.
Man, that is a great deal for all the folks listening. Dan Menikheim, ProHealth Pest Control. He's our pest control expert here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Dan, I know with all the bugs and all the people moving down here, you need some more people on your staff. How are you guys handling the demand?
Well, it's we're not spending a whole lot of money on marketing. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Because we're really getting into a busy season. With that said, we've been fortunate to have a good reputation, over the years we've been in business, and we're actually looking to hire right now. And the best thing I could say to anybody who's listening to me, if you know somebody that's good with people, that likes to get outdoors, good with people, good with that, we can teach the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
We sometimes we can't teach, a personality.
Right.
But the bugs are easy, and you know what? Everybody I know, and people think, trust me, it's less disgusting than you think, and it's more fun. And I personally am I'll admit this right here on the radio show. I'm afraid of rats, and I've done my fair share of rat removal.
So
you put out a trap, and they come to the trap. You don't. I'm not out there wrestling rats. I just don't like them. I know a lot about them. They carry diseases. I'm telling you, the more knowledge I got in pest control, the more I can't stand rats. They're disgusting. They carry germs or whatever. But with that said, the more other bugs I really enjoy. I mean, I don't like it. Okay, so here's my list: rats.
Yeah,
bed bugs.
Not a big fan of bed bugs.
And like German roaches in the house. All three of them are not my favorite, right? But with that said, I mean, me personally, when you're out there, we're looking for somebody to meet some people, explain our products and services. I mean, it's a sales position, and we let them decide. It's that simple. We're not twisting anybody's arm to take our product or service. We explain what we do, how we do it, and if we're a good fit, they say, okay, when do you want to get started? And we have other technician type of people that will go in and set some traps. There is a little pest control part of it, and there are definitely some inspection part of what the good team member would be working for us right now. But we've got plenty of leads and plenty of opportunities for somebody willing to get out in the car and go visit some people.
And you may not like those rats, but that's job security, Dan.
Oh, it's yeah. You know what? I got to look at it is like I wouldn't want them in my house.
That's right. So you're going to get them out of there because you dislike them.
Oh, I am, and I'm an expert in rodents. That's why I don't like them so much. And listen, if they're out in the wild, enjoy yourself. But when they're in people's homes, it really can cause havoc. And if you read, and I know it's 1 in a million people that dies from a rat, or even 1 in a billion person that dies of a rat or something. It's not but people have died from rats. And I'm not trying to scare anybody in the Tampa Bay area, but they spread diseases that eventually kills people.
Well, there may not be everyone dying, but there's certainly no good interaction. There's no one out there saying I had a great experience with
Well,
rats.
you can get. And listen, I've removed rodents from attics and stuff like that, and I get and there's mites and flies that come with it. They create other insect issues. They're just disgusting.
One relates to the other.
But fortunately, the reason why I'm hiring is I do less rodent work now than I ever did in my life. Let's just say that. And I'm very thankful to be in the position I am now than the position I was in 20 years ago.
Well, we are very thankful to have you as our pest control expert here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. That's Dan Menikheim, ProHealth Pest Control. Dan, what's the best way for folks having a problem to get in touch with you?
ProHealthPestControl.com.
Okay.
Just visit our website, read a little bit about us, check out our reviews. We have, I think we have a 5-star. I think we made 4.9 stars. Somebody gave us a 1-star review by accident. We will have a 5-star perfect review by the end of this month.
Great. Dan Menikheim, ProHealth Pest Control. Thanks so much for joining us today, Dan.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, I've got John Satino. He's a new first-time guest here in studio. We're at the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to introduce you to John and, of course, our feel-good story about a high school senior that invents color-changing sutures. Can you believe that? Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here with your real estate market update. Owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty with your Pasco County residential listings update on the market. Got the latest data here from the multiple listings service, the Mid-Florida Regional MLS. Okay, inventory is low as we know, but it actually dropped again in February. In January, we have 1,202 properties, and in February 2021, we're down to 1,043 properties available for sale in Pasco County. Now, come on down and you look at the properties that have sold. Those numbers are up. 976 properties in January sold compared to 1,046 in February that sold in all of Pasco County residential sales. So if you divide the solds by the listed, that's 102%, absorption rate, and a 1-month supply of inventory. Strong seller's market, great opportunity. And I've got lots of vacant land also if you're looking to build. We have some opportunities there for vacant land throughout the area, Tampa Bay area. 813-750-0550. Please call or text our hotline, 813-750-0550. And also consumerqb.com is our radio and TV show info, consumerqb.com, or platinummvpteam.kw.com. You can see our listings there and also reach out through the website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Brandon Rhymes here. Thanks so much. We greatly appreciate your support. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right, consumerqb.com, a great resource for you. You can find our partners as well as some of the sponsors for the Consumer Quarterback Show. The sponsor for this segment is Chad Irrigation. You know, I didn't realize Chad Irrigation was even a business that I could hire. Someone to come out to your house and help you find new sources for fresh water to use for your landscaping. Amazing. So Brandon lives on Lake Tarpon, and he brought out Victor from Chad Irrigation, came out. They provided him a way to use water right out of the lake as their landscaping solution. So a great way to save money on water and also provide a better, cleaner source of water for your landscaping and irrigation. Chad Irrigation. I mean, Victor's our contact. We're going to get him back on the show. I want you just to realize what's out there. I didn't even know a business like that existed. So Chad Irrigation, a great sponsor for the Consumer Quarterback Show. And of course, we talked about Brandon and the Platinum MVP team being a Keller Williams agent and having real estate opportunities, even now in this time of real estate scarcity throughout the Bay. Johnny's got a couple of properties for this segment. It looks like we've got a commercial opportunity in Clearwater. So if you're looking for a commercial opportunity, 1780 Clearwater Largo Road. This is a hot corner location. So this is a chance for you to have an office storefront where about 40 to 50,000 vehicles drive by every day. 12 parking spaces, again, about 5,000 square foot lot right in Clearwater So 1780 Clearwater Largo Road in Clearwater. A great opportunity there by Brandon and the Platinum MVP team. Again, he's got commercial and residential opportunities. Here is 3 side-by-side lots at 803 East Palm Ave in Tampa. So minutes from downtown. This is zoned for urban mixed use. It's got built-in income with tenants on site. So 803 East Palm Ave. You've got tenants already there. It's ready to go. 3 side-by-side lots, 16,830 square feet. Great opportunity again. Brandon's got lots to look at, whether you're looking for commercial, residential opportunities, or even land to build on. Get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP team. All right, before the break, I teased John Satino. You guys don't know him. He's a first-time guest here in studio on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk all about his site, DNAHairRegeneration.com, but I wanted just to have John introduce himself a little bit to all the listeners out there. Tell us about you, where you came from, how you got into this field.
Well, my background's biomedical engineering. I came out of heart pacemakers. Then I spent a couple of years at NASA in 82 and 83 designing lasers for wound healing for the space program.
Now, a lot to digest right there. I love NASA myself. Now, in space, it's different when you're wounded. Is that correct?
Correct. I originally started working with leg muscle atrophy. They atrophy very large muscles, atrophy very quickly in space. We went through leg muscle atrophy through electronic muscle stimulation, which is primarily what the Russians were doing. But one of the problems, if you get cut in space, there's no sunlight, there's no gravity. He won't heal correctly. So our team developed a low-level laser. By low level, there's no heat to it. It's basically a light. It's a 650 to 700 nanometer, which is just the range of the light. And it accelerates healing processes.
Very cool.
And so it's now being used for everything from hair growth to wound healing. So it's kind of expanded from that original.
Just tell me about NASA. I'm kind of fascinated by the work environment there. Tell me about, you were here in Kennedy?
Yeah, Kennedy, right. That was, like I say, 82, 83. Went over originally because the leg muscle atrophy, they were trying to get ready for the space program, for the actual...
the shuttle?
The shuttle, and for the, the program where they're going to be there for a long period of time. Shuttle's up and back, but if you're on the space station, you're there for a period of time. Right. And weight is a concern, so exercise equipment doesn't work too well. And electronic muscle stimulator operates off of a 9-volt battery. The brain operates on 1/5 of a volt of electricity.
How about that?
So we basically just ran it through these carbonized rubber pads. That was my claim to fame, to develop those. And I did Sally Ride's suit.
Wow.
Which was great, and it's a great lady.
Yeah.
And it operates at a subliminal level, so periodically the muscles would fire in space and contract, and it prevent leg muscle atrophy. When they got back to Earth, they could walk.
Man,
that was a major
I
change.
like
at
that.
point.
That's very interesting. I'm space program, very fascinating for me. So after NASA, we got about a minute before we'll get you into the next segment. We're going to do the most of it. But what's the next stop after that?
The next stop after that was drug companies. I did the research for Upjohn, which was a drug called minoxidil or Rogaine, which was the first drug FDA cleared for hair growth in the U.S. That was in 84. 89, I did a study for Merck on a drug called finasteride, which originally was a prostate drug, but actually had a side effect of causing hair growth in some patients. And I did a study for that. And then, again, getting into low-level laser, which was my background, to do research in 03, which was FDA cleared for hair growth through the FDA for using low-level laser.
So kind of combining these kind of different technologies, different areas of expertise that you had, it kind of worked out that the laser kind of plays a role.
Laser plays a major role, yes. And now, of course, we're into stem cells. This is the future of medicine. I mean, Ponce de Leon spent all this time looking for the fountain of youth. He had it inside of him all the time.
How about
He
that?
didn't realize that.
When we come back, we got that was a great tease, by the way. You should do the radio. John Satino here in studio. What a great idea. I always talk about Ponce de Leon. You ever go to the springs around here, some of the natural springs? Yeah. Can you imagine whacking through the forest with a machete, getting killed by mosquitoes, and you find that thing? You really do think, man, that is the fountain of youth right there. All right, don't go anywhere. This is a really great topic. We're going to get into some engineering and some talk about hair regeneration and what it means to you as a consumer out there in the Bay Area. And, of course, the feel-good story of the day about a high school senior that invents a cool technology that we're going to talk about as well. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
I adjusted for him. It's
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
That's right. Give Brandon a call and the Platinum MVP team if you're interested in any of the properties you hear me pitch on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's got real estate opportunities for you, even in this time of scarcity. And of course, Brandon put together the Consumer Quarterback Show to create some positivity. We got a feel-good story coming up for you. And the sponsor for this segment is Replenish IV Solutions. You know, Replenish IV Solutions is a very unique business concept. Everybody nowadays is worried about their immune system. They want to make sure it's as strong as it can be. Well, Steve and Lisa Gunnan at Replenish IV Solutions can come directly to you or your office if you can't get to one of their Bay Area locations. They'll inject you directly with an IV drip, you know, minerals, vitamins, whatever you need to get yourself peak immunity. So again, get in touch with Replenish IV Solutions, a great sponsor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Okay, we got a few properties to go through in this segment as well, because as you know, Brandon owns the Platinum MVP team, and he's got real estate opportunities even in this time of low inventory throughout the Bay. Johnny, our producer here in the studio, has got one for me up in Odessa. If you're looking to build in Odessa, we've got 2.2 acres. 1.05 are buildable, 12,250 feet along Gun Highway, close to major roads, right off Gun Highway in Odessa. It's lakefront. Man, that's a good-looking property right there, residential or specific commercial use. So beautiful waterfront, 2.21 acres in Odessa, Gun Highway. Get in touch with Brandon if you're looking to build your dream home. What else you got for me, Johnny? Here's something in Pinellas Park. Here's a residential opportunity. We've got a 2-1, 1,025 square feet, 5103 Rose Place North, Unit 263 in Pinellas Park. So covered carport, close to shopping and restaurants. Great remodeling opportunity if you're looking to relocate to the Pinellas Park area. Get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP team. Again, commercial, residential, or land to build on. Brandon is your guy. Get in touch with the Platinum MVP team. He's got real estate opportunities for you. Okay, before the break, we were visiting with John Satino. I'm fascinated by his background here with NASA and done some engineering work. It occurred to me during the break about lasers. I really know nothing about it. What was the initial idea behind building it? What were they looking for when they built a laser? Was it a weapon? What were lasers generate from?
Well, they do have laser weapons. It's light amplification for stimulation of radiation emission, is what it stands for. But basically, it's amplifying light. So it depends on how you want to amplify it. Do you want to amplify it so it can cut through a steel wall, or do you want to use simply the in low-level laser using just the light to penetrate tissue? So, of course, I'm not weapons grade, so right. we're trying to stimulate tissue.
Well, what an amazing field. Now, you studied that in college, I'm sure.
Well, not really, because in college, a biomedical engineer back then had a 9-volt battery. That's about what we had.
So tech has changed for both of us.
Quite a bit. When I first started in heart pacemakers, we ran the wires outside the body, and I had to go into surgery to show the cardiologist where to place the wires. And, of course, now, it's a whole different ball game at this point.
So it moved very fast. I know my father's in medicine as well. So it seems like a company will jump in, or they'll find a drug or a technique, and then it immediately starts getting refined really fast because, again, people's health is on the line.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what's happened with stem cells. 10 years ago, someone like Kobe Bryant had plenty of money and had knee problems, flew to Germany, spent $30,000, got his knees injected, and went back to playing, ball.
And at that time, as you mentioned to me off air, those stem cells were not harvested from Kobe Bryant himself.
Yeah, that was those were embryonic stem cells,
which
are the baby cells, if you would, or they come from the cord blood.
Gotcha.
And now that went down. It was FDA cleared finally in the United States. It went down to about $10,000, then $5,000, then $2,500. now 1 cc of stem cells from the lab's less than $1,000.
And that's pretty much nationwide.
Nationwide. There's not that many labs that do it, but we've got a couple here in the state. But these stem cells they're the fountain of youth.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things. As an athlete and being in athletics for years as a coach, you're constantly looking for edges. Athletes are constantly looking for edges. So any things that show up initially as a stimulant or something that makes a caffeine, they find a role for it in athletics or a way to enhance their. So I'm curious about the genesis of this.
Well, how it actually started originally was the FDA cleared what's called minimal manipulation of autologous cells, which means autologous means your own cells.
Right.
So by 2008, you could use your own cells and manipulate them. Manipulate means 4-to-1 concentration. As a matter of fact, one of the players right before the Super Bowl had a major problem with his knee, and actually a doctor out of Canada came in, drew his blood, separated out those cells, and injected his knee. Now the doctor got a lot of trouble because he was licensed, to practice here in the U.S. But that started that whole process. Now that's pretty much common treatment today. Mm-hmm. You have a major problem with a joint or something, you go into your physician, he'll draw blood, separate it, and concentrate it and inject it back in the area. So we're taking your own cells and just we're just multiplying them and putting them back where they need to go. And they'll adapt to that at that point. And that's pretty common in medicine or in sports medicine especially.
So their utility became vast because immediately they could be used for different. The injury wasn't specific to hand, finger, joint, whatever it was.
Didn't matter. And, of course, now the baby cells, if you want to call them that,
Mm-hmm.
the cells that come from the cord blood, now these are baby cells. These are thousands and thousands of these infant cells. The problem you have with of your own cells is if you're 50 years old, they're 50-year-old cells.
Right.
If you're taking these baby cells, they're baby cells, and they'll adapt to anything. If you have a problem with your thumb, that's where you put them, and that's where they go. So it truly is, like I say, the fountain of youth.
What is the process post-injection? Do they multiply internally, or what goes on?
Correct. These cells they're the body's healing factors, and of course they form new vascular systems. If you have an injury, they go in and they start multiplying. I use them a lot for cosmetics.
Right.
We use them for hair, of course.
Sure.
We can inject into the scalp, and if there's a hair follicle that's still there, now, if it's totally bald, it's been bald for 30 years, there's no live follicle. We're not creating life. We can't do anything with it. But if there's a small, fine little thin hair that we can inject, and that hair will start to grow within 3 months. On the face, we use a laser to impregnate the skin with these cells. And we generally, I know it doesn't sound reasonable, but we take 20 years off a person's appearance with one application of stem cells.
Tell me a little bit now, initially, how to utilize cosmetically. Was there someone out there how does you guys on your own decided to use these different utilities, because they've been used all over the place?
All over now. Well, we started, like I say, about 2008, the FDA cleared what's called minimal manipulation. We had patients that had been suffering from different diseases, autoimmune diseases, things like lupus and a disease called alopecia areata.
Right.
People wake up in the morning, their hair's laying on the pillow. So we had one of those patients, and we injected, and his hair grew back. And it was done, believe it or not, on live TV.
You mean locally in the scalp or just generally in the body?
No, locally in the scalp.
Okay.
The hair grew back. It went viral all over the world. So consequently, for about 2 years, all we did was train doctors from all over. People flew in from Abu Dhabi and wherever and had these injections done, and their doctors a lot of times came with them.
So subcutaneous?
Subcutaneous. Then they would train their friends, and now it's pretty much considered standard of care.
How many shots would an adult male?
Well, then it was usually, maybe 4 or 5 cc, so it was several shots. And, of course, it doesn't always work, but a high percentage it does.
What's the time frame for you starting to see something?
About 3 months maximum. Hair takes 90 days to complete a cycle. If it's resting, it's not growing, it takes about 90 days to go back into that regrowth cycle.
From that time forward, does that hair just behave as a normal hair?
Yes. In that case, it does. It unless it's a male pattern where you have a genetic factor and then it will take over to some degree with DHT buildup or something. But normally, it'll continue to grow. Now, with these baby cells, like I say, it's amazing what it does. It just takes off right away, and sometimes within a couple of weeks, we actually see a difference.
So, the key regeneration, the idea of regeneration, I think. you may be skeptical as a consumer out there when someone tells you that they can regenerate or you're going to grow your own hair back.
Right.
I think that there's a lot of people in the cosmetic industry that are doing every random kind of thing and claiming lots of big claims.
A lot of claims, yeah.
So I want you to separate yourself a little bit here. So
right.
we
Well,
talk about
there's
this
only
technology.
3 legitimate things you can do if you're losing your hair. According to the FDA, there's Rogaine, which is a blood pressure drug that opens capillaries. It's FDA cleared. It's across the counter now. There's finasteride, which is a drug that's made by Merck that actually was a prostate drug that stops or slows the conversion of dihydrogen testosterone in the prostate and also in the hair. And that drug is a good drug. Then low-level laser, again, which vasodilates, works on the principle of biophotostimulation, similar to the way plants convert light to energy. Those are the 3 legitimate things you can do. Now, this PRP, or these cells injection, does it work? Yes. Is it FDA cleared? Well, not really, because of the modality. You're using its own cells. It's not really marketable, so it's not, FDA doesn't clear it, and nobody can make money on it, if you would, at that point.
Now, I can imagine that your client base, customers come, men, women, children, all walks of life.
Right. My book, Stem Cells, Reversing Aging, Treating Injuries, and Now Regrowing Hair, is on Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com. It's like $20 or something. But so that's done a lot because we're published and people can read about it and so forth. If anyone wants a copy, they can give me a call. We'll send them one. So I have free copies. They're proof copies. There's no spell check or whatever, but they're free.
Get in touch with John Satino.
Yeah.
Find out. DNAHairRegeneration.com is the site.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, so that's where we're going with hair and with faces. Again, it's the same kind of thing.
Men and women, no difference in the volume of injection or the volume of cells?
It's pretty much all the same.
So stem cells in women, same concept as in men?
Same exact concept. See, stem cells originally started or were eliminated in the United States due to Senator Dickey. When they were doing a lot of research on stem cells, it came out of in vitro fertilization. People would save the sperm and so forth in case they wanted to have a child at a later date.
Right.
And a lot of these frozen embryos kind of became like your grandmother's fur coat or something. They got tired of paying for storage, so they decided to get rid of them. And Dr. Johnson decided, this was back in '98, he decided, well, I've got all these cells, let's do some research on these. Well, Senator Dickey found out about it and said, oh, they're creating babies over there. We got to stop this. So it was eliminated in the United States. We couldn't do stem cell work. It wasn't until '08 that we could do these minimal manipulation of autologous cells. And by then, of course, the Japanese and England, Ireland, everywhere, they were way ahead of us. And
well, I can imagine,
so we had to catch up.
You see a lot of men. Of course, men are just as vain as women, and everyone wants to look their best.
Sure.
But for a child, has there been a circumstance that you're familiar with where the kid had some catastrophic something going on? And I could see that really being traumatic for a kid to not have hair.
It is. And that's where we get into this disease called alopecia areata. It's an autoimmune disease. It's triggered by stress. And sometimes you see a mom and dad going through a divorce, and they call me because their 9-year-old girl has got big spots of baldness on her head, and that's triggered by that. And the cells work well on that, or just injections. Normally they go in for a cortisone injection or something, and that's really kind of painful, and it doesn't work that well. But with these cells, we generally see a change in the way they look.
Boy, it's fascinating. I realize a patient may come to you because they're looking to improve their appearance. Mm-hmm. They may get some auxiliary benefits from the stem cells as well. Do they ever describe increased energy or some kind of?
Absolutely, yes.
What other factors might you experience?
Well, one of the things that happens too is there's something called a phenzamine. It's an amino acid. It comes from an algae. And I usually put patients on that first because it increases the production of stem cells from the bone marrow. The way stem cells work is if you get an injury, there's an SK5 receptor that goes out and tells your bones, hey, we got a problem here.
Crank up the production.
Crank up the production. They release those cells are released through the bloodstream. They come in, they make bone, blood, skin, whatever. Then they differentiate. They're immortal. You have them all your life. So the only cell in your body that does that. Now, you don't have as many when you're 60 60s you have when you're 20,
Okay.
but they're still there. So that's kind of how stem cells work. This ephenzamine, and we don't know exactly how it works, but it has a tendency to cause the body to produce higher levels of platelets. Normal platelet, if I drew your blood, your normal platelet levels would be 7 to 900,000. With the use of the ephenzamine, in many cases we see over 2 million of those cells. Now, since we're concentrating the platelets down 4 to 1, 2 million's better than 700,000.
Right.
So that's one of the things that, and those people do notice a difference because they're getting a production of those stem cells.
Now, talk about your patient, your typical patient here in the Bay Area. How did they get in touch with you? What's the process, or getting in touch with you, or finding out if they're a candidate for this kind of procedure?
It's mostly research. People that do research kind of find out about us because we're internationally published. Dr. Greg Smith, who's our medical director, has written, 3 or 4 books for the medical schools on dosage, diagnosis, things of that nature. We're running a study. We're actually doing a study right now, believe this or not, on CDB. We're using
in conjunction with stem cells, or
by itself, because what we've found is that CDB works on low-grade inflammation. In hair loss, in many cases, there's a low-grade inflammation.
Well, it seems like inflammation has now become a factor in many different health issues that they weren't aware of before.
Exactly, and this CDB works on low-grade inflammation. So when it's topically applied with a laser to get in and around the hair root, we're seeing very positive results. So we're doing a study on that. We published a study last year on 38 postmenopausal females, and it's in a medical journal publishing as we speak. Now we're doing a 60-patient study, including men and everybody.
Right.
And that's there's no cost or anything. They just come in and we give them the medications and use the laser and document the results, and then we'll publish that next year.
It's fascinating, John. When we come back, I keep thinking of more questions as you keep talking. So I want to come back. We're going to visit more with John Satino. Again, check him out online, DNAHairRegeneration.com. The Consumer Quarterback Show has got a new expert here for hair growth. So I want you to come back. We're going to talk to him some more about that. And, of course, our feel-good story about that high school senior that took advantage of her science and math background and invented sutures that detect infection. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show with a market update. Pinellas County, latest data from the MLS, Multiple Listing Service data. As of February 2021, we have a reduction in inventory again. So we have a low inventory market already down, low records, 2562 in January, down in February, down to 2142. So that's residential listing units for sale in Pinellas County. Now, if we come down and we look at the sales are actually up. So there's an inverse relationship there. The sales are up in 2021. Sales for January 1615 and 1863 in February. So the sales are up. Inventory is down. It's a great time to be listing your real estate properties. Great time for a move-up buyer. Reach out to our hotline. We would love to talk to you about the market, about your equity in your home, and about how you can get the absolute highest sales price right now. 813-750-0550. Call or text our hotline, 813-750-0550. Also, check out the website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to our expert contributors, our real estate listings at consumerqb.com. And we would love to help you with your buying, selling, or investing right here in Tampa Bay. Brandon Rhymes, Real Estate Quarterback Show. Talk to you soon.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right, consumerqb.com, a great resource for you to find all our expert contributors in addition to our sponsors. The sponsor for this segment is Brothers Easy Moving. Just like all the services that we tout on the show here, Brothers Easy Moving did a great job moving Brandon himself. So Brandon saw how hard these guys work and the commitment that they have. And whether you're going long distance or local, these are the guys. They've got tons of 5-star reviews online. So if you need a quick move, or you got a far move, or you got something difficult to move, get in touch with Brothers Easy Moving. They are the official moving sponsor of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I've got a feel-good story for you, just like we always do. Brandon, make sure that we inject some positivity into your day. I got a story here about a high school senior. We've been visiting with John Satino, and of course, I'm fascinated by his stories about stem cells and all the technology that's going into health nowadays. Well, I've got a story about a senior here at Iowa City West High School in Iowa. She invented medical stitches that change color to let patients know if their wound is infected. So 17-year-old Dasha Taylor was named one of the 40 finalists in the Regeneration Science Talent Search, the nation's most prestigious science and math competition for high school seniors. Dasha's sutures work by changing color if the patient's pH level alters, indicating an infection. pH is one of the most prevalent parts of wound healing, so she started experimenting with root vegetables. This is interesting. It kind of relates to what we were talking about before. She found out that that's a perfect, she found that beets, the vegetable beets, I found that beets change color at the perfect pH point that's perfect for an infected wound. Beets provided the perfect dye for her invention, changing from bright red to dark purple when surgical wound becomes infected. So after more than a year of research, Taylor is working on getting her sutures patented. She envisions these sutures being used in developing countries where they can save lives and money. The goal of my project, she says, is to decrease the number of deadly surgical site infections in developing countries, because developing countries suffer from the most number of deaths due to infection. That shouldn't be happening, she says. They should have the resources to save the citizens in their country. So my goal is to work on that and make sure they actually can detect those type of infections. She says after graduation, she's going to attend Howard University and study political science, or maybe be a lawyer. But I thought, what a cool story. What an interesting story. A 17-year-old taking that initiative to find something scientific out there, do some research, and found kind of what we were talking about with John. You know, beets, I don't eat them much. I don't like beets that much, but she found a use for them. I imagine the stem cells can be that way. We talked a little on the break about athletes always searching for the next way to get ahead. Blood doping, of course, from the Olympics way back when was something that they used to do. Have any athletes come to you kind of with an idea that stem cells are going to help them in a certain way?
Well, one of the things we use is a fenzamine. It's an amino acid. It comes from an algae. I think they have a lake out in the Northwest that they combine this and process it, and it has some properties because we've monitored platelet levels from blood draws, and we see that a normal platelet level is 700,000 to 900,000. We regularly see over 2 million platelets in a blood draw after taking the fenzamine for maybe a week. So there is some effect, and I get these anecdotal stories from bicyclists and people that run whatever. That I've cut 3 minutes off of my time or 3 seconds off my time, and I'm like, does that really mean anything? But evidently it does.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But there is a big difference. The main thing is there's a big difference between your existing stem cells that you now have in your body and stem cells that come from embryonic fluid and so forth. And the difference is your own stem cells, we can draw those and concentrate them 4-to-1. That's legal here in the U.S. Now, I get a lot of calls or emails from people saying, are you killing babies? What are you doing? You know, and the way these embryonic cells are harvested, an agreement's made with the mother, with the pregnant mother before birth, and this is a cesarean section. It's not a vaginal birth.
Right.
And there's a lady standing there with dry ice and a cooler, and when the baby is born, she harvests the umbilical cord. Now, the agreement then is for the mother is until the child is 18, they will freeze and control that umbilical cord. If this child comes up with leukemia or something of that nature, they have cells already.
That's really
and
cool.
Then they take what's called the Wharton's jelly, which is the part that contains all these cells. That's what they take, and that's how they concentrate that down. And now that's what we're using in hair growth and in facial regeneration and that particular area.
DNA, hairregeneration.com. John Satino. John, we're closing up the show here. I want to give you a chance to get folks the last message. You got about 10, 15 seconds. How to get to you with this issue.
727 area code 446-5000. If you want a copy of my book, Stem Cells, Reversing Aging, treating injuries and regrowing hair, give me a call. I'll send you a free copy.
Fascinating stuff today on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thanks so much, John Satino, DNAHairRegeneration.com. You can see the world has tons of technology out there, and it's a question of using our science and math and getting ourselves ahead and making life better for everybody out there. I want to thank John for coming in the studio. I want to thank Dan Menikheim from ProHealth Pest Control for visiting with us, and I want to thank Brandon Rhymes for putting the show together and giving me the opportunity to sit in his chair and host the show. I enjoy the Consumer Quarterback Show. There's value there for you. We want you to check it out. Check out all our sponsors, all our contributors at consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.